Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Calvin Tobin Show. I am your host, Calvin Tobin. Today we have a lot to talk about, so let's get right into it. Alright, there is a lot of NFL trade rumors going around right now, and superstars could be leaving quicker than you might think. Because one, for starters, the Cowboys are looking to cut and release star wide receiver Amari Cooper. Now, this is not a total shock based on the money that has been given to each and every single one of these Cowboys players, because as for Jerry Jones, he's known for maximizing deals for all of his players and pays them way more than they should have. And like what's going on right now, that the Cowboys do owe Amari Cooper $20 million on March 20th, and they're looking to avoid that in the coming weeks. So Amari Cooper is most likely going to get released within the next 2.5 weeks if the Cowboys do not want to pay that $20 million to Amari Cooper. But at the same time, this is not a smart move anyway, because why get rid of Amari Cooper? He is a serious piece and a superstar piece to that Cowboys offense. Yes, the offensive line is slowly depleting, and you do need to afford the best offensive line to protect your QB so he can get the receivers the ball. And because of now Jerry Jones now paying his players too much, now it's about to bite them in a severe way, because they're going to potentially release and most likely release Amari Cooper, like I said, within the coming weeks. But for this being a huge mistake for them, he's a huge part of that offense, and he's one of the main reasons why Dak Prescott is able to look as good as he does. Dak Prescott is obviously not worth $160 million, but we all know Jerry Jones overpays his players all the time. But if the Cowboys, which they're most likely going to do, and once they do release Amari Cooper, that's just going to put them into a deeper hole and less likely to make the playoffs going into next year, let alone the Super Bowl. For all those Cowboy fans that think the Cowboys are going to make the Super Bowl every single year. Now, another side rumor that's going on is Rob Gronkowski is being intrigued by the Buffalo Bills signing him in free agency. Now, this is a scary matchup too if Gronk ends up signing with the Buffalo Bills, because they got Dawson Knox, who was a great tight end and started to get his own rhythm going last year. But imagine him and Gronk plus Stephon Diggs, plus Cole Beasley, plus Devin Singletary, and you got your franchise QB. That just looks like another complete stacked offense. But at this point, the way that the Buffalo Bills really need to focus on, even though getting future Hall of Famer Rob Gronkowski would be absolutely fantastic for them, they do need to focus more on the defensive end. Yes, they got Tre'Davious White, and yes, they got a few other stars on that team, but they need to get players along the defensive line that can disrupt the offensive line and get to the QB. They also need to get maybe one or two more linebackers in this upcoming draft, because defense is their biggest issue right now. Because once they can get, but this era is completely balanced from serious passing to serious rushing, and pretty much if you're a playoff team, you can beat any team every which way. But with Buffalo, defense is what they really need to focus on. And because of last year, now rumors are going on is that the Colts put in an offer to change the overtime rules, because we all know how that game would have ended up or maybe have turned out if Buffalo got the ball back against Kansas City, because that was one of the best playoff games that anyone's ever seen in a long time, because it was such a scoring outrage and rampage all night long. But if Buffalo had a solid enough defense and just a few more stars and studs and leaders on that defense, that could have been a whole different situation and had the chance to stop Patrick Mahomes and his offense. But Patrick Mahomes has the fastest offense in the NFL, so it's nearly impossible to stop them on consistent drives. Now, the other one more rumor that's going on is General Manager Joe Schoen is interested in listening to trade talks for Saquon Barkley. That would be the Giants losing Saquon Barkley is going to be an exact similar situation in losing Odell Beckham Jr. You're just putting this team into the biggest hole possible, but Daniel Jones is just constantly getting this team out of it as much as he can. And how good is Daniel Jones really? Because Joe also said he was trying to make Daniel Jones fail and look bad just so they can go get a new quarterback. So how good is Daniel Jones really if he had a good team around him? And now that there's a potential chance that Saquon Barkley is about to leave, the Giants ain't coming back for a long time because they lost Odell Beckham Jr. Now they're losing Saquon Barkley, and they have lost stars over the past 5 to 6 years. Like this Giants organization needs to get, especially the GM and Joe Schoen, he needs to get this situation and organization under control and actually want to win. Just because you don't have a quarterback that you like, but he ends up doing really good, that's all on you because you're trying to make your team fail. What guy does that? And it turns out it's Joe Schoen. Like, are you kidding me? Come on. Like, why do you want this team, especially your quarterback that actually probably is a lot better than you think he is, because you're trying to make him fail? Now you're going to make him lose the best running back you're going to have for a long, long time, because Saquon Barkley, if he goes to a good team like the Bucks, like Green Bay, like Pittsburgh, like the Bills, if he goes to any teams like that, Saquon's career is going to take off like a rocket going into space. Like, it's not even funny, because Saquon Barkley is like Barry Sanders to a point, the way he's shifty with his feet, the way he can move and break out of tackles. But the only reason he doesn't look as good as he is because of the atrocious offensive line he has to be behind 24/7. Once Saquon Barkley leaves, and hopefully it's to a good team, Saquon's career is going to take off like crazy. Now, the last thing on NFL news is the NFL is finally COVID-free. And what I mean by that is they finally, the NFL and the NFLPA agreed to suspend all COVID-19 protocols. So this season is going to be back to completely normal. No players being out due to having COVID, maybe, and no games will be canceled. And so we can finally have a true one and done season without any issues. The NFL is finally back. And you want to know else who is back? KD is back. He finally has returned from his injury and played last night against the Miami Heat. Unfortunately, the Brooklyn Nets did lose to the Miami Heat 113 to 107, but KD balled out as usual, getting 31 points, 4 assists, and 4 rebounds, and now we got his first taste on what it's like to play with Andre Drummond and Seth Curry. Now we just got to see when Ben Simmons is coming back. But hopefully he's able to get his back situated and fixed and healthy as quick as possible, because this team is really scary. Because you got Kyrie, hopefully he takes this job seriously now. You got Seth Curry, who is a phenomenal three-point shooter. You got Andre Drummond, who can rebound like crazy, getting 15, 16, maybe 17 rebounds a game, because Drummond is like that. And once this team gets into rhythm, along with Ben Simmons hopefully being in that picture, this Brooklyn Nets can have a strong finish to the season and maybe get higher than the 7th seed when the season is all done. And I have complete confidence that they can do that. But anyways, with this game, it looked like that Brooklyn had its money throughout the entire game, but once the halfway through the third quarter hit, Miami finally took their first lead and just never looked back and had the lead for the rest of the game. Because Bam Adebayo and Tyler Hero and Jimmy Butler, with their quick passing, with their way to get into the paint in this game, they made Brooklyn look delusional and made them look like they didn't know what they're doing by manipulating their zone defense left and right. And that's what really bit Brooklyn on towards the end of the game. Yes, stamina was starting to get to them too, but that defense manipulation on what Miami was able to figure out, that's what got them to this victory and helped them win outright 113 to 107. And speaking of winning, last night we had the Montreal Canadiens take on the Calgary Flames in a scoring outrage. Is Montreal back? Maybe, because ever since they hired Marty St. Louis, the Canadiens have been on a winning rampage, because they have won 7 of their last 8 games. And apparently ever since that Marty St. Louis had that little pep talk with Cole Caulfield, it's been score after score and win after win. And what's really interesting is that Montreal was at 8 wins before Marty St. Louis showed up. But once he entered this picture and is now the head coach of the Canadiens have only lost a couple of times. Like, actually just once. They only lost once over the last 8 games. Like, think about that. Like, the Montreal Canadiens just needed the right coach, and Marty St. Louis was the complete answer. They also ended the Calgary Flames' 11-game home win streak, where Calgary was on a huge rampage of scoring, outscoring their opponents 53 to 15. Calgary has been absolutely ridiculous over the last month and a half, because they have won 15 of their last 19 games. Like, Calgary is not a team you want to mess with. From crazy scoring onslaughts to crazy saves to ridiculous blocks, Calgary has turned themselves into one of the most, if not the most, dangerous team that's playing right now. And now we just gotta see how long they can keep this winning onslaught up, because they totally have that capability to do it. Because this Montreal win was just a little fluke in their game plan, but I have no issue in seeing that they can get back to their winning ways and keep this winning streak and winning onslaught going. Alright, that's the end of the Calvin Tobin Show. Please subscribe to me on YouTube at The Calvin Tobin Show so you don't miss out on any sports media. And please follow me on Instagram at Calvin Tobin Show so you don't miss out on any sports news whatsoever.